Are we working? Is it on?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there we go. As always, my professional video production, it's on. Hello there. This is the safety instruction for Iomrogha Mhor, the big journey that we're taking next Saturday, a week tomorrow. So I'm going to start off by christening the chart. This here is Jericho Sailing Center, where we'll be departing from. The first dolphin, the second dolphin, the gong buoy, the shipping channel in and out, Bowen Island, what's that? Cowan Point, Passage Island, our destination, Grebe Rocks, Point Atkinson, and Pilot Cove and Sandy Cove. So just as a bit of a preamble, as you all know, this is addressed to the crew because it's really difficult to get everybody together at the same time. So I'm presenting this video. I'm going to send them the link and they can get back to me with questions, comments, and concerns. So this is our most ambitious trip to date. In the scheme of things, it's not ambitious at all because as late as the 50s, people were rowing and sailing from the Paisley Island group once a week to Vancouver to pick up their groceries and their mail. This is about the equivalent of a full marathon, about, I'm going to say 26, 27 nautical miles. It's going to take us most of the day. There's 5 phases. The preparation phase, which we're in now. We've been practicing, and most recently, this last Tuesday, Ryan, Diane, and I left from Jericho, rowed past the gong buoy to the edge of the shipping channel and back again. And we did that in 2 hours without really breaking a sweat. And that is significant because Jericho to Gong and return, it represents Jericho to Passage Island one way. So we've got the stamina, we've got the experience, we're going to do it. So the preparation phase, the priority of work right now is finishing the boat. So if you can, there's nothing on the floor for you to trip on. We have to get the skin on this and painted before next Saturday because it'll float as we see it now, just not very high in the water. It'll be more of a submarine. If you're looking behind us, we've completed the oars. All that's left to do these is give them a lick of varnish and they're good to go. Okay, so that's the preparation phase. Second phase is the trip out. Third is the landing. Fourth is the trip back. And then the fifth is the after action report where we sit around with a beer and discuss what went right, what went wrong, and most importantly, where our next trip is going to be, because this sort of represents a dream. We've been talking about this since at least COVID. And once your dream comes true, you don't have a dream anymore. So the route out, we're going to start at Jericho, follow the two dolphins to the gong buoy. Now the tide is going to be on the way out at that time. So actually, what time is it? I'll check my timings later, but in any case, when we get to the gong buoy, we stop and we watch. Now, I'll mention comms later on, but our radio that we bought has the automatic identification system, which means that when the radio is on, every commercial vessel will see us on their screen and we can see them. And the thing, AIS tells you what course the ship is on, how far away it is, and how long it's going to take before it's right at you. So we get to the gong buoy, we stop, we see what traffic there is. Now, early in the morning, there's not going to be any cruise ships going out, but there may well be freighters coming in and going out. When we've been going out to the gong buoy, we've been watching to see how fast the freighters move, and we've determined that at the gong buoy, if you hold up your hand, if the ship is no bigger than the pinky nail, it's going to be at your location within 21 minutes. So we take a look at that. We watch the traffic and we take a look at the AIS, also the channel 12, which is the shipping channel. And at the right time, we boot across. Now we can do Jericho to the gong buoy, to the first dolphin in 20 minutes. 20 minutes will take us all the way through the incoming passage. So if a ship is 20 minutes away, we can cross in front of it in time. There will be an immediate action that if we get close to a ship and do what we've done before, let's say this is the freighter, this is us, freighter's moving, we do a reciprocal course, and we pass under their stern, as we've done every other time when there's another ship on the water. So it's going to take us 20, 40, 60, 1 hour. It might take us 4 hours to get 4 hours to get to Passage Island. The tide will be low. We've taken a look at Google Maps. There's one landing place, and it's a beach right where my pointer is pointing. It seems to be choked with logs, or at least it was when the picture was taken, but at low tide there will be a place to land. This place, however, is populated by multimillionaires who generally aren't friendly when people show up on their beaches. So best case, if we can't land, we circumnavigate, because we also want to see how busy this shipping channel is, because this is where all of the ferries to Vancouver Island pass. So we want to get a notion of how the speed that they're moving and what wake they're throwing up, because in future trips, Snug Cove and the pub, and also Deep Cove and not Deep Cove, Horseshoe Bay and the pub, and other places with pubs. So so we get to the island. We might be there by 10 o'clock. We see if we can land. If we can't, if the landing isn't suitable, we can investigate the Grebe Rocks. Having done that, again, looking at our timings, we'll skirt Point Atkinson. We'll avoid the maelstrom here because it'll be at slack water. Frankly, it shouldn't be an issue, but when the tide's running, you can get some nasty water here. So we'll swing right around the maelstrom and take a look in at Pilot or Sandy Cove. When the tide turns and the wind comes up, then it's just hey diddle diddle right up the middle, straight back to Jericho. And then, of course, after action, we boast about how wonderful we were and how we're going to do it next time. So as far as health and safety, we have several concerns. In order of priority, one is the sun. So hat, sunscreen, sunglasses, maybe a long shirt. A couple of people they don't do well with the sun, so they will dress accordingly. Second is dehydration. You really go through the water when you're out there. Most of it will be perspiration. So everybody's going to bring at least 2 water bottles. Each boat will also have 2 of these, 20 liters each, 5 gallons. So we're going to have 20, 40, 60 or 80 liters of water. So we're going to definitely have enough water. So dehydration, good. Repetitive motion injury, because 26 nautical miles, that is 14 to 20,000 reps. So our solution there, because we've been at a slow and steady pace, we experience no discomfort. But what we will do to ensure to avoid repetitive motion injury is each rower will have a 10-minute rest in the hour. So the coxswain or whoever will say, right, number 1, pin your oars, have some water, have something to eat, apply sunscreen, sort of thing. Blisters on the hands. Most of us have got fairly calloused palms. We also have some high friction gloves. We also have, it's not here, I rub pine tar in my hands and it works. Collisions, well, we're going early in the morning so that none of the rental idiots will be out in the water. I've mentioned our immediate action when a ship is close, because I mentioned it goes from the size of your pinky to here in 20 minutes. If the ship can be covered by your hand, it's time to take evasive action, even though it's several kilometers away. Food, well, there's no restaurants. I would suggest bananas, trail mix, and such like that, because you don't want to overeat. In fact, I could see is when you take a 10-minute break, you get a couple of calories down your neck, drink some water, kind of thing. Timings. This is, well, we've done this in the past. Arrive at Jericho no later than 4:30, because we push off at 5. And the reason for that is sunrise is at 5:10 on the 28th. And seeing the sunrise over the North Vancouver Mountains from the middle of the bay is worth the price of admission. It's wonderful. High tide is at 8. Tide starts to go out, and then lowest low tide, the maximum ebb, is 3 o'clock, 1500 hours. So on the route out, it's just past high tide. We have a bit of a following tide. Now here we have the eddy from the Fraser River coming around, so we're pushing against a little bit of a tide, a bit of a current. But out here, it's an outflow current. So when we're aiming for Passage Island, actually the tide is coming in at that point. So if we're shooting for Passage Island, we're actually going to be aiming for Cowan's Point there, because we want to take the shortest possible distance across the shipping lanes. And then with Passage Island is due north, we're going to actually, theoretically, we get there and then we turn north, but the current is going to push us so that we're aiming here, we wind up here. Maximum ebb is at 3 in the afternoon. So we do our investigating, go for a swim, whatever it might be, eat. But by 3 or a little before 3, we start back, because we'll have the current behind us, and round about that time is when the Squamish wind starts. So we're going to have a following breeze, which will blow us home. Now each boat will be fitted with a mast and sail. So best case scenario, we're going to be acting like yachtsmen, just sitting and tending the sails as it blows us right home. Realistically, it's going to be oars with sail assist. Sunset is at 22:06, 6 minutes after 8 in the evening. Full dark. 2200, that's 10 o'clock. And maximum flood, high tide, is at 22:30. So again, we're going to have the currents and the wind behind us. Communications, 2 of us on board, 2 of us in the expedition have our marine radio license, Ryan and me. And we dug deep in our pockets and we got the best possible radio. It has digital selective calling, which is to say that in an emergency, you flip up the toggle, you hold down for 5 seconds, and it immediately sends a mayday with your precise GPS coordinates. After it signals when the signal's been sent, and then it automatically sets to channel 16, which is the distress channel, and then you get online and say, Mayday, Mayday, and give them the details. 2 rowing boats hit by an aircraft carrier, 7 individuals, we can swim, we have our life jackets on, whatever. The reason why I mentioned that is because who's going to fall overboard? The guy who knows how to use the thing. Right, so it's got the digital selective calling. It also has, as I said, the automatic identification system. So when logged on, every other ship, because passenger vessels under 20, I forget what it is, we're in the voluntary class where we can elect to have it, but large carrier vessels, freighters, tankers, and the like, this is compulsory. So AIS shows you in the middle of the screen, and it shows what ships, how far away they are, how long it'll take to get there. So we're well covered for safety. Also for communications, the 2 boats will remain within hailing distance. Having said that, both Ryan and I have quarterdeck voices, and we can make ourselves heard for a kilometer or so at least. Staffing crew, tentatively boat 1, Ryan, Kat, and Diana. Boat 2, me, Clara, Siobhan, and we have 1 spare, Evie, who cannot row, and she will be a coxswain in one boat or the other. I suggest that, this is provisional, right? Providing everybody turns up. We can do it with 2 people in each boat, because we've done that before. We've gone as far as the North Arm before with 2 people in round trip with no discomfort. I suggest that we switch boats, because we got a brand new boat and we got the one that we're all used to. We switch boats at the halfway mark, so everybody gets a chance to row the new boat. That pretty much sums it up. So get your gear together. I've got a huge bottle of sunscreen, but get your gear together for the sun. I would suggest a warm layer of clothing tucked in a bag, because if you fall in, you get cold. Maybe bring a towel or something like that, and figure out what you want to bring to eat. So again, I'm thinking like trail food and stuff like that. I'm also going to bring a kettle and cups so we can have a proper mug of tea, and we'll prevail upon Siobhan to bring that Irish tea that she's always talking about.
Can be arranged.
There we go. So we have a treat ahead of us. So therefore, and also bring a mug. So there we go. Questions, comments, and concerns. Crew, just send me a text, or we'll talk over the next couple of days. If you're not involved with this, I'll always like to hear what other people say, but I might not get around to answering you in time because this is kind of occupying our time. So thank you. Carry on. And Siobhan and I are going to get back to working on this boat so half of us aren't treading water the whole time.